Jolene with Home Stitchery Decor. I'm so glad you found the channel. Stick around, let's go learn something. All right, Jolene again here from Home Stitchery Decor, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these multi-layered mandalas on your Cricut. I've done these on 12-inch shadow boxes, which have worked out great. And the shadow boxes you can either get on Amazon. I'll put a link in. I am an affiliate, so I will receive a small payout if you purchase anything through a link. And these are all my own patterns, so you can purchase these again on the website and get an instant download to follow along. And I've got complete instructions for you guys coming up. Let's go. Okay, so today's project is these multi-layered mandalas made with cardstock on our Cricut machines. All of the patterns that you see here in the pictures, plus a couple more, are my own designs, and they're going to be purchasable on my website. So head on over to the website, purchase your favorite one, or buy the bundle, and let's get started on making these. I'm going to show you all the steps. So here we are at the download portion of the project. Once you receive your files, you're going to click download, and you're going to open them basically. So after you hit open, you can come up to your browser, and in Windows you can see these little lines here. You just click on them and it's going to show you downloads. You can click on downloads here, or you can come to the bottom here to this yellow file folder and open it up and open up your downloads on this side. So basically what you're going to look for is your downloads are open up here, and you're going to look for your most recent download, the one that you just did. It'll have a timestamp on it here, and it'll have a little zipper on the folder here. So now we need to click on this, and we're going to have to extract all these files in order for them to load into Design Space. So after you've highlighted it, up at the top, extract will show up, and you want to extract all. Once you've hit extract all, another selection here is going to show up. I just basically put them back into the same place. You can sort them out later. But for this video, let's just get them opened up here. So we're going to press extract. This is for Windows only. If you need to extract files on a Mac or on an iPad or something, you'll have to go to YouTube and find a video for how to do it on that program. Okay, so basically we've got the file here now, and it's showing up all of these different selections, and we're going to go over to the SVG, which this is the one that we want. And under the SVG, here are all the files. So this mandala is 6 layers, and it was the third one in the series. So they're numbered 301, 302, 303, 304, 305, and 306. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to come on over here to the Cricut Design Space, open it up, and we're going to make a new project. And now we need to load in these exact same files into the Cricut Design Space. So we're going to upload the images one by one here. Browse to where your folders are. Go to your Mandala 3 that now does not have the zipper on it. This is going to be where you're going to find your SVGs. You're going to open it up, and you're going to select number 1. Here we go again, we're going to get number 2. So we're going to go to the unzipped folder just underneath. You can tell by the timestamp. You downloaded it at 9:58, you're opening it up at 10 a.m. So it'll just be a minute or two different. And if you're super quick, it'll be in the same minute. So now we're going to do number 2. And just repeat the process 1 through 6. Okay guys, so now we've got the project loaded up onto the site here. You can see the pictures are all showing up on this side. Now, what we need to do is make sure that the width and the height of this do not exceed a certain measurement. Otherwise, it won't cut on the mat. So basically, the measurement is 29.21. The width and the height cannot exceed 29.21 inches in either direction. So now you need to go through the images here one by one and make sure that neither one of these measurements exceeds 29.21. Once you enter one, the other side should flip. And if for some reason this number is now higher than the 29.21, put this one at 29.21, and then this one will adjust just a hair smaller. So we want to make sure that everything is consistent, so it'll come up on the mat. If you don't do this part, you cannot cut this, so make sure you get this part right. Okay, so here's our treat of the day break. This is the creamy coconut hot chocolate from the Spice Cabinet Traditions, a local Alberta company. Once again, I love their stuff, so I just keep drinking it. I'm not gonna lie, this jar was full, but I drank so much of this coconut stuff that I'm almost out of it. So this girl is actually a friend of mine too, so maybe if I make enough videos, she'll send me more hot chocolate. Yummy! I get asked all the time how I select my colors for my mandala boxes. It's really not that complicated, and there's some tools that the craft stores give you to make things pretty easy. One of the things they do is they make coordinated cardstock collections. So one of my favorite collections is by Recollections. It's from the Michaels store. And when you go into Michaels, they're going to have all these grays lined up and then all the beiges lined up. So basically, I just buy a whole selection of colors within that same theme, and then I line them up on my table here. And if my mandala is 6, 7, or 8 layers, I try to go dark to light, light to dark. And lots of times I start with the dark on the bottom and then try to pull it to the light at the top. And that way, when I'm looking at my finished product, my eyes get drawn into the picture and I feel that there is more depth doing it that way. There's no wrong way to do it though. So just pick some colors that you like. Try not to mix and match too many styles of cardstock within the same mandala if you're going for a consistent look. And another great tool I use to pick colors, it's called Color Hunt, and it's on the web. Just Google Color Hunt, and it'll actually pull up like palettes of colors where the colors complement each other. And then you could just take one of those palettes over to Michaels and decide, okay, I like the blues, and they told me to find, 4 or 5 blues, and they told me that the brown would complement with the blues, and then I add another vibrant one in, and off we go. We've got a set of colors started. So that's a great way to get started and take it from there. When I'm lining up my paper to cut it through the Cricut machine for these large mandalas, I just keep in mind that the paper has a lot of cuts in it, and I just want to reduce any risk at all that I can for the paper sliding around, because the cuts take a long time, the paper is expensive, so I just want to do it as good as I possibly can. So I lay my Cricut mat down, I grab my paper, and I line it up along the bottom line, and just make it as straight as possible, and then slide my hands all over it. Make sure your hands are clean and dry so that you get the best amount of stick on the mat. Now, at the top of it here, there's always a cutoff, right? And the cutoff basically goes past the line at the top of the mat, and it's not even sticky there. So you don't want to feed this mat into the machine on this line, because it's not sticky there. The machine could grab it. It'll start twisting right from the start. So instead, I turn mine and I start with the stickiest side feeding into the mat first. And then as the cut progresses over the paper, there's less of a chance of the paper sliding around and ruining the cut. So in this part, I just want to let you guys know the difference between cutting your mat once and cutting it twice. This is the Recollections collection paper that I get at Michaels. I cut my mandalas on the 80-pound setting with extra pressure. And this is what happens when I run it through the Cricut Maker once. So basically, it's got still a whole bunch of little tags here that we're going to have to poke out and clean up. And, you know, I just feel like that's a complete waste of time. And, you know, you never get as nice of a look with doing it that way. So basically, this is the same one, and it's been run through the Cricut Maker twice. And as you can see, all of the little tags easily pulled off, and they were stuck onto the mat. So how I do it is, once I have my Cricut in the mat, I cut it the first time, and when it boots this mat out, it tells you that it wants to, you press the button and will eject the entire mat. What I do is I don't press the arrow button whatsoever. I just press the cut button again without touching the mat. You don't want to move it at all because you want the cut to exactly line up the way it was before. The mat will just feed itself back in, and it will cut a second time, and you'll get a much nicer look. A good way I remind myself to do this, to make sure that I've cut it twice without accidentally pulling it out after the first cut, because, you know, every one of us has a lot going on in our lives. We forget. I get these little Post-it notes. They're just little Post-it tags. And on the top of my C, I just put a little tag there. And this way I know that I've only cut it once. And when I go to do the second cut, I just pull it off and I stick it over to the side here. And this second one, sometimes I stack both of them up here. And this will remind me after I've done, a sheet of paper that's got some really detailed cuts. I take my needle out of the machine and I poke it around on my tin foil just to get off any debris or extra glue or anything. And that really keeps everything nice and clean for these crisp cuts. Make sure you're using a new mat or a very clean mat so it's sticky and your paper's not sliding around. Now here we are at basically the last step. We've got our mandalas cut, and now we need to line them up. And there's several layers. So what I like to do is place down the shadow box that I'm going to set them in, and then put the first layer down and push it up into the corner so I have a good base to start with. I then flip over the whole stack and basically just line up, make sure that they are even each way. One side or the other may be slightly different. So just have a check here and then flip it back over. And I've grabbed this foam tape here from Michaels and some scissors. And on my Cricut here, I like to put all these tiny little pieces of tape so they're ready to go. And I just place them all over the mandala, and then I peel off the back of the little pieces of tape and I put them in a bowl, making sure I grab each one. When you get to where you're at the top layer, you definitely don't want to be dropping any of those little pieces of tape in here, because you'll have to unassemble the whole thing and take it apart, because once it wiggles around, the tape may show up again. So make sure you've grabbed all of them. And then at the end, you're going to have this. So it looks the same back and forth. And then I just clean up the glass on my shadow box, make sure I haven't left any dust marks. And then I assemble the shadow box, and voila, there you are. You've completed your project. Congratulations. So the very last step here is to assemble the box itself. So you've got your piece of cardstock, you've got a non-slip mat, a ruler, and a rotary cutter, and you're going to cut off the branding here on the top edge. So this just comes from the store this way. So just be careful with your blade, make a nice clean cut. And because we've got a 12-inch shadow box and we bought 12-inch paper, this is going to fit perfectly. So now grab your box, grab your insert, place it in, your mandala, flip it over. And if you find that your mandala is slipping or sliding in the box, you can put a couple of layers of foam tape here, and here, so it'll stick to the paper. And now you're going to place your paper down. See how it just fits perfectly there? Maybe it doesn't. Haha. Let's turn it. Sometimes it's one way or the other fits just a wee bit different. There we go. And now we're going to put in the backing. And then I use this letter opener, but you can use just an old butter knife and push your tabs down. And once you flip this over, everything will be done. There you go, guys. Perfect.